So, why would you ever want to watch yourself draw? Well, I know tennis players, for sure, do some form of video training. A lot of other athletes do too. I think the easiest way to do this is to use OBS and to just get into Photoshop and to screen record yourself and play it back. You don't need to speed through it at like 100 speed or anything. If you wanted to get through it quickly, you can just kind of use the skip ahead button, 10-second hops. That's a much better way to get through it without just like taxing your computer to process 20x speed or something. I know not everyone's computers can do that. Mine hasn't been able to for the longest time. So there's a nice little hack for you if you want to play it back on a computer, on a shitty computer. It's pretty interesting. I've never actually seen me draw before. Hopefully, what we'll find out by the end of today is whether or not this is a worthwhile exercise, if there's anything super significant I even notice or glean from reviewing how I draw, and if you should do this or not, if I would recommend this to anyone else. You might be wondering, like, whoa, we're always watching ourselves draw because we're drawing. When we're in the act of drawing, we have to be looking, so we must be watching ourselves draw. Well, I think there's another side to that might be, are we engaged? Are we analytical and only 100% analytical and focused in analyzing how we draw? Because that doesn't happen while you're drawing. It can't be, because you're also trying to draw. I also think that this is one of the biggest advantages of digital. For instance, I think in Procreate for the iPad, it comes with a playback feature, and it'll toggle the playback speed for you, so you can set it to like 50x speed or whatever, and it won't blow up your iPad because it's the software is designed to be able to do that efficiently somehow. I have a tablet monitor, like a $500 tablet monitor from many years ago, and it's plenty for me to just open up Photoshop and have any software I need on my PC to do these weird little training exercises and experiments. So I really like the flexibility of drawing digitally, drawing on the computer, because we can play around with so many different art tools, maybe, and hopefully some new creative ways to use some pre-existing stuff to better learn art. So one thing I'm noticing already is that my people, they're all kind of like box people. It's like they're all on like an isometric plane. They are all coming at us in perfect 90-degree angles, if you know what I mean. They're coming at us at perfect 45-degree angles, right? Like there's only what is that? 8 directions they can face, kind of like a tactics grid-based video game. Yeah, that's definitely something I want to work on. That's definitely something I've never kind of really noticed in my stuff before, is how much they strictly conform to that plane. Just imagine a giant flat curtain slicing through you this way, and that is the plane of movement that all my people kind of are stuck to, because I'm not really thinking of anything too imaginative or unique in their gestures. Sometimes it's just I'm just trying to draw them and make them look like a thing. As far as brushes go, I do think brushes make a difference to how you draw. I do think it changes the way you draw. Obviously, you're gonna press harder if you have like opacity on, and you have a shitty tablet like I do, where you can't change the pressure curves, so you're using third-party apps like Lazy Nozumi. You have to click like 17 different buttons just to get to do the thing, and eventually you just kind of give up, and you're like, whatever. You just avoid having pressure sensitivity on. You're probably smarter than me, but I just don't like messing around with all those settings. There's definitely less tactility here on what I'm drawing on than, say, like versus the cheapest iPad, the cheapest Procreate machine, which is the iPad 6, because that works with a pencil. Like, that is an incredible tactile experience. But even still, with my limited tactility on this old tablet monitor, the brushes still do make me draw differently depending on which, what digital settings I have on. For instance, I had like what is it, like opacity toggle on, so it was creating this like kind of textured thing because each stamp of the brush was randomized being lighter or darker or lighter or darker. So yeah, and that kind of makes you, there's a bit more grit to that, there's a bit more detail in there, so I'm kind of less concerned about detail then when I'm using a very kind of messy brush, and you kind of start thinking big picture more, for instance. Okay, so I tried it out with this lady, and she just looks awful. Like, I'm just gonna skip through this. I do not want to see. No, I need to see this. I need to experience this. Like, I do not know what I was going for with that. So as I'm doing this, I wouldn't say that anything's directly referenced. Yeah, like, I do have another monitor above, and I just have, like, Pinterest open, and if I just cannot think of anything visually interesting to draw, I'll just like scroll until I see something interesting on Pinterest and kind of just modify that image. So like I'll change the hairstyles, or I'll try to change their pose slightly, but like there's something about it that I can reference, and I'll reference only that. And there's no sense in me trying to draw anything accurate. And I'm not trying to not copy them. It's just that it's easier for me to just reference the one thing that I see that I like, and then just make up the rest. Just to do these kinds of exercises, at least. This lady here in the what am I pointing at? This lady here in the front, like I didn't reference her at all. I just kind of made that up, and her anatomy kind of turned out mostly correct. In our slightly lower perspective. Because I timed myself, and I just kind of did maybe like an hour and 10 minutes or so. But that was a good mark. That's a good amount of time to do this, to try to just... Coming into this, I didn't really have a plan. I just kind of... I tried to just keep an open mind, and the only real challenge I had for myself was to just... was to just keep drawing for an hour, which... I think it's pretty tough to do. Like, realistically, come on. In this day and age, for me to like focus, you ask me to focus, do one thing for an hour, come on. This was painful. I do not know why I dwelled on this so much, and yet I think this is really important that we're seeing how painful this was for me in 8 speed, because I just could not get this to look right. And her face was directly referenced on Pinterest too. I'm gonna just pause that real quick. And I do not have that page still up. Sorry. But anyway, like it was so difficult for me just because for whatever reason I fell out of the flow of it, or I tried to copy more than to like intuit faces, just draw a face how I'd normally draw a face. And I think that really throws you off. You see me like really like sculpting her head because I can't get her, like I can't figure out like how deep her head should be off of copying a picture. Like it looks wrong to me because I'm so used to just drawing the same, like most people, just drawing the same anime faces. Okay, like, come on. So we got into art. Come on. Maybe I'd first start by lightly just lining in the gesture of their pose, and then just aggressively go and raw dog the lines. Whereas over here, I'm just kind of doing it blind. I'm just going for the lines blind, and sometimes it works, and most of the time it doesn't work, in my opinion. Because like I said at the beginning, it looks like all my dudes are standing on an isometric grid, like in a tactics game. So they're all facing this way, this way, this way, this way, or one step in between. And I know why I do that. Like, I do that because it's a much easier way in my head to figure out perspective. Like, to imagine drawing someone only in eight directions instead of an infinite amount of directions facing all around, right? Just stop yourself at 8. So if you're watching, thanks for watching. What did we learn from this? It's quite an interesting little exercise. I might try to slow it down, like maybe near the middle, and start it off fast next time instead of this time where I gradually sped it up. I think at every speed I kind of notice little things, and it's good that I'm forcing myself to talk it out, because in that case I have to really work on properly articulating what exactly I'm finding. So, thank you for keeping me accountable. And what do I always say? Thanks for coming. You're doing great.